Guys, today I have a delightful guest with me. His name is Adeola Ajayi. He's a business manager, very, very intelligent. He's one of the brightest minds I know out there. So I want him to talk about tech and how we can work together in making it work for Africa as a whole. I'll let him introduce himself. Mr. Adeola Ajayi, the stage is yours.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for that warm introduction. My name is Adeola Ajayi. I'm a product manager. I have approximately 10 years of experience starting and building technology companies. And in the last 5 years, I've been a product manager at two Y Combinator back companies where I've launched digital banking products that have, collected over $100 million in
Okay,
deposits.
wow. I would like you to talk on fintech at large. What are your thoughts in fintech and how it has affected Africa as a whole?
Oh, okay. That's a fantastic question. Um, in 2019, I also asked someone the same question because at the time, all the companies that were raising investments were only financial technology companies. So I was curious, like, what's special about fintech? Why aren't other industries raising money?
Yes.
And the response she gave me was really short and really beautiful. She was like, we live in a world where you have to pay for every single thing that you use. For you to literally be alive today, for you to stay alive, you have to pay for things or you have to do some kind of exchange of value or the other. And essentially, financial technology is simply enabling that to be possible in a more efficient and faster way. So that's why it's significantly relevant. Today in Africa, we would say that the biggest problem that exists is people being underbanked or unbanked. In Nigeria, approximately 40 million of the adults are currently unbanked, meaning there's still a massive opportunity because we hear people say like, it seems like there's too many fintech companies.
Yeah.
Why is it everybody wants to do fintech? It's still because there's a massive problem. There's still a gap and
Yeah.
it hasn't completely been filled up. So
Yes.
that's really a high level of why fintech is so important and the impact it's having in the lives of Nigerians specifically.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, what are your expectations when we talk about fintech? Of course, what are your expectations in Africa and how we can improve it?
So in terms of expectations or like making sort of like projections, I would definitely say like I see the relevance of digital banking becoming
Okay.
more and more important and significant. So you think about companies like OPay that have been
Okay.
existing less than 5 years, probably less than a decade. And OPay currently bragged about having over 25 million users. This is something that took traditional banks more than 2 decades to achieve. And a technology company is achieving that in far less than that, less than even half a decade. If you look at that growth trajectory, it
Yeah.
would make it really obvious that more and more people are going to get financially included. And
Okay.
to just explain what financial inclusion means, it means literally banking the unbanked. Now,
Okay.
why is banking so important for people? As I mentioned earlier, for you to be alive, you need to actually be banked. And it simply helps you make your life easier. So, for example, we talk about savings. There are people today in Nigeria that they save money in, local or unregulated institutions. We call them alajo.
Yes.
And when these people save with these people, their money can just disappear. So imagine someone being poor and his little savings is trying to accumulate just goes in the thin air. Also, there's also the issue of like access to credit.
Okay.
Um, so there's still a massive lending gap. Thanks to all the lending companies spiraling out, that gap is being closed up to an extent, but it's still a big problem. Most people still don't have access to credit. And so I do believe like more and more people will continue to have access to these services and we will start to see like interest rates come down. and people will start to create like safer measures to recoup,
Yes.
loans disbursed, because that's one of the biggest challenges currently in the sector.
Wow. Okay. I think the audience would also like to know how you came into tech because, of course, it didn't just begin today. How long has it been? What are the drawbacks?
Yeah, absolutely. So my my journey has been pretty interesting, I would say. Especially to financial technology. So I started a company immediately after I graduated from university. I was about 21 years. And at the time, I didn't even know what I was doing was tech. I just knew that I wanted to sell the product. And how I sort of got into that, because I think the greatest difficulty for most young people, especially, that are slightly people between the ages of maybe 20 to 25 or slightly above that, is they often don't know what they want to do with their lives. So I also faced that challenge. I wasn't sure if I wanted to start a company or if I wanted to like join a business, get a 9 to 5 job. And
Yes.
essentially, what happened was that I had this mentor that basically gave me an advice that I still use to today. Essentially, he told me when you're about to look at the career path, look at the people at the top of that career path. If you're not willing to do whatever it takes to be like those people, if you do not love their income, if you do not love their lifestyle, if you do not love everything that they do, then get out of that spot. Because
Yeah.
that might be like the best place you might end up.
Yes.
So I sort of started going on that pursuit, looking for like mentors or looking for people that I would aspire to be like. Um, I was fortunate enough to be in an environment that allowed me to meet people at the top of their career lines. I remember meeting like bank executives. In their case, they were wealthy, they're living amazing lives, but like they were all old. So I was like,
Yes.
wait, I have to get that old before I can be those people. I was like, no. So this was not for me, right?
Yeah.
Then I also remember meeting like a politician, just a local government chairman, and I was very, very sure that that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Then I remember
Politics.
meeting someone. Yeah, I remember meeting
Okay.
someone. Um, we went to a conference. It went to this conference organized by Akin Alabi. Akin
Okay.
Alabi is the founder of NairaBet. And at the conference, Jason Njoku and Okoyemi Awoyemi were on that panel. And
Yes.
basically, they said if you have like an idea or something that you need investment on, write me a 50-word email and send it to this email address, and
Okay.
he will respond. So he called out
Okay.
his email address, and me and my friends were there, and we literally just scribbled it down. Immediately he said that, then Okoyemi Awoyemi, which was the founder of Jobberman, said the exact same thing and
Okay.
said his email address. So essentially, my friend and I spent like the next 7 hours trying to craft up a 50-word email, which was
Okay.
extremely difficult. We spent like such a long time to do that. And after shooting the mail, we're like, okay, wait, let's just add copy Okoyemi. And we did that. And guess who responds? Okoyemi Awoyemi. That's the founder of
Wow.
Jobberman.
The man
Yeah,
himself.
he responded immediately. I remember we shot the mail on like a Tuesday and he invited us to come to the island on Thursday to meet with him. So me and
Okay.
my friends go there, we're all suited up and like
Yeah.
all kitted up, like ready to like pitch our
I
idea
can
to him.
imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah, and we get in there and like this guy is coming from the gym by 10 a.m. in the morning
Yeah.
and he was really apologetic that he didn't dress off, suited up for us. But essentially, we had a very lengthy conversation and he explained to us how he started the company, how they raise investments, how they have helped over 1 million Nigerians gain jobs. And there and then, all I could think in my head was that this was the person I wanted to be like.
Okay.
I was like, I'm sure I'm willing to do anything to be like this guy. Because he was less than 30. He had invested in over 18 companies. Financially, he was free. I was like, I want to be this guy. I'm going to be going to do whatever it takes to be him. And
Yeah.
essentially, that solved that. clarity helped me decide to take the entrepreneurial path.
Okay. So it hasn't been
Um,
easy.
well, it's probably the first 5 years of my career were probably like the most difficult periods in my life. Like, I became so familiar with Gary that, like,
Okay.
if I smell Gary from a distance, I knew that because
Okay.
like we bootstrap, we couldn't raise money. We had a business that was paying the bills, but things were actually really rough for the first 5 years. And Gary destroyed my eyes. Like, because
Are you
like,
serious?
yeah, starting a company is really tough. And we weren't making so much money. We couldn't raise investment. The industry, which is like ed tech, wasn't like really
Yeah.
encouraging, wasn't really attractive to investors.
It-
So
Okay.
those those first 5 years were like the most treacherous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So if you were to go back in time, what are the things you wouldn't do or you would do differently if you had the opportunity?
Well, I would say I would still follow the same paths. At least if I didn't have the same knowledge. However, I would have been more malleable. Essentially, it took way too long. I think 5 years was way too long for me to realize that I had to pivot into like something different.
Okay.
Um, would have iterated faster and tried other things much faster, but it took me 5 years to realize that um, what I was doing was not the most fertile ground to
Okay.
yield the results I wanted. Um,
Okay.
so that's the first thing. And what would have enabled me figure that out faster is being in an environment that facilitates growth. So we're
Oh, yeah.
isolated. We're staying in a part of Lagos where we didn't get to network with people that were in the ecosystem. We weren't getting to meet a lot of people and seeing a lot of trends. It was until we
Okay.
actually started getting out more and meeting people that were in the ecosystem that we started to see patterns and
Okay.
and the biggest pattern was like mostly fintech companies were raising money.